Peru made a very good decision, and that was to do the laptops only in remote one-room schools. And that's in some sense, again, perfect. It's exactly the right situation. In some cases, it takes 3 days to get from Lima to the school. Combination of buses and walking and all the rest. I mean, these are not one-day trips, and very, very difficult to get to many of the schools. Nigeria is normally not this orderly and sort of classroom. It's much more pandemonium in terms of the way the kids are using them. But it's a country that was very important to us because in the beginning, they were one of the 6. And the second head of state, Lula was the first in Brazil. The second head of state I went to see was Obasanjo, who was president of Nigeria. I didn't know him. I knew Lula, but I didn't know Obasanjo. When I arrived at what they call the villa, which is like their White House, he had a full, unbeknownst to me, full cabinet meeting. All his ministers at one end of the table, or one side of the table, and I was all alone at the other side of the table. And he wasn't in the room. He comes in the room in his flowing blue robes. Everybody stands up. Very impressed. He sits down, and he points his finger at me. And he says, "Professor Negroponte, I have one word for your project." So everybody's silent. It's like a cliffhanger. He says, "Enchanting." This was 3 years ago. Well, it will be 3 years ago, the end of November. And we were just getting going. And for Obasanjo, whom I didn't know, to point me and say, "Enchanting," I was walking on air. I went back to the project and I told people the story, and it was really wonderful. So about 5 months later, or 6 months later, I go back to Nigeria. And when I'm there, I go to see Obasanjo, and I say, "I'm only here to thank you, because your encouragement really helped us, and to express our gratitude, we are going to make the laptop your national colors. And green and white of our laptop are the national colors of Nigeria. It's nothing to do with being green, or that green isn't pink or blue or little boys or little girls. If the Nigerian colors the national colors of Nigeria had been maroon and brown, we would have been screwed. But they were, white and green. Perfect. I mean, fate played again a very nice hand. This is Uruguay. This is a classroom I've actually visited. A teacher in this classroom had been teaching for 30 years. When she heard the laptops were coming, she went to, this is a village, she went to the town where the social security office for that village is, and she asked for early retirement. And they told her, it'll take us 3 weeks, come back in 3 weeks, and we'll process your early retirement. So she goes back, and of course she has to participate, and the laptops arrived in the intervening period. And after 3 or 4 days, she went back to the Social Security office and said, "No, I've changed my mind. I want late retirement." Okay, just took 3 days for her to realize the difference this made in the lives of the children in the next. And this school, I wish I had the picture. When I went to visit, had a green stripe painted all around it, that exact same green. And so, again, with postage stamps, the painting on schools, the retirement, all of it is just part of, again, the fact that people, this isn't about laptops. Okay, this is something much, much bigger and much deeper. This is a school in India. India hasn't been the biggest success for us at all, but this teacher whom I met a few weeks ago, actually, it completely changed his life. He had never used computers. He had never done anything but teach by standing in the front of the room, coming in, students all stand up, gives his things, sits down. He's completely changed his life. He's changed the village, and he has become one of the strongest advocates of the laptops, again, as a way of working and thinking and developing, and these kids now work with that teacher very, very differently. This is in Mongolia. And the picture isn't very interesting, but Mongolia is, it's 50% nomadic. It's a country, you go to Mongolia, it's so cold they don't grow vegetables, okay? The land is frozen 10 months of the year. It's it's a very interesting and strange place. But all the kids are going to be connected in relatively short notice. And this, how can you not love going to school on a horse? And here the kids like the laptop, because otherwise they're schlepping books and so on. Here they're just carrying one laptop, and they like that.